Welcome to Goad's Questorials, where we walk through how to complete a Dark and Darker quest in the shortest and most optimum time possible. For this video, we're going to be deconstructing and plotting the fastest routes for the quest, A Goblin's Pride. The goal for this quest is simple, but by watching this video, I guarantee will accelerate the rate at which you quest on multiple characters, and maximize the number of Goblin ears you obtain in each lobby. If you don't give a shit about the specifics or the number crunching, you just want to get into the dungeon and start killing, then I'm going to flash the 4 fastest routes on screen that will average the most goblins per minute. If, however, you're like me and you just love to learn about the game, then let's get sweaty with it and dive into the data. As of Season 4, A Goblin's Pride is the third quest for the Goblin Merchant, and features only one condition: turn in 10 looted Goblin ears. To deconstruct this quest, the first thing we need to know is what mobs drop Goblin ears, to figure out what constitutes an eligible spawn. At the current drop rate, it will take an average of 70 Goblin kills to acquire 10 Goblin ears, so optimizing our clear time is important. And now that we know that all Goblin targets are eligible, we can begin to plot our routes to maximize our speed. The first thing that we're going to want to do is pop our amphetamines and then kill every single goblin in the map to confirm our goblin count. On screen now, I have a sheet put together where I did just that, tracking the total eligible targets as I explored through every module. If we were to take this data and overlay it over the Goblin Caves map, clustering total eligible targets as a single figure, it would look something like this. The next thing we would want to do is block out any modules that don't feature any eligible spawns, which is 4 of them. Next, we'll want to highlight zones that feature the most targets, specifically looking at those with tight enemy clusters. And finally, we'll want to block out zones with smaller than average clusters that don't serve as pathways to high yield zones. With this in mind, our pathways become more clear. I have divided the pathings up into 4 routes depending on which quadrant of the map that you spawn in. The highlight of our data is this. For all 4 routes, the goal of our lobby is to try and carve through the center modules as quickly as possible. So at the start of a lobby, you should try and get onto whichever pathing is closest towards cutting through the center, and if you are very fast at clearing or have extra time, consider weaving in the bonus routes that I'll highlight. For the northeast spawn, we want to wipe out all of the goblins in A4 while heading south towards the east side of B4. If you're a Dark and Darker vet and you have some spare time, then you should make a detour here, wrapping B5 and around through C5 until you reconnect back to where the detour began. Now you want to zig and zag, clearing B4 until you come up on the west side, and from here we're basically doing a mass goblin purge through C4 and C3. From here, we want to exit through the south exit on the bottom floor, clearing the pocket of goblins in the tunnel, and taking a horseshoe back to the center. Finally, we're going to carve west through the center, clearing only the top floor of C2 and second floor of C1. The other floors are optional, and then we're going to be extracting at the triple portals in B1. If you have extra time at the end of this route, you can continue north through A1, exiting on the northeast exit, cutting through the flame traps in A2, and taking the rope extract. For the northwest spawn, we're essentially working in reverse, immediately migrating towards the center, but this time after we do our horseshoe back to the center, we're cutting straight east, and we're going to be clearing C4 and C5. We exit on the northeast side of C5, only clearing the southern border. We're going to cut back into C5 and C4, and then up the west entrance of B4 for a full goblin clear path. And that's where we're going to extract at the triple portals. If you have any time left over, then you can cut through A4 and A3 and use the A2 rope extract or the A4 cave extract. For the southwest route, it's going to be the exact same as the northwest route with one caveat. If you spawn in E2, you'll want to quickly do a loop just to clear that module before migrating to E1 on the north entrance. And then once there, we're going to be taking the western wall north until we hit C1, and then the route is exactly identical to the northwest route. Finally, for our southeast route, we're going to be looking to hug the southmost wall as we migrate to the west, and then once we get to E3, we're dropping down and cutting straight north. From there, we're going to be finishing our horseshoe rather than descending into the bottom level of D3, and we're going to be doing a loop to the east and back through C4, B4, and C3 to hit our thickest clusters. Next, we're going to follow the conventional path to the B1 extract. Assuming you have some extra time, and you should have plenty of time, then I would recommend cutting through A1, A2, A3, A4, and then extracting either at the rope in A2 or the cave extract in A4. So it just depends on how much padding you have. And that's it. After 1 or 2 cycles of these routes and 10 looted ears extracted, you'll have completed a Goblin's Pride. Thanks for watching, and happy delving.